Into the Woods is a Broadway play, well, not a play, because it's a Broadway musical that's about fairy tales, which may seem pretty generic at first, but if you actually saw it, it's more of a deconstruction, which is also fairly popular these days. It takes place in over the course of several fairy tales at once, honestly. You have Rapunzel, you have Cinderella, you have Red Riding Hood, you have Jack and the Beanstalk, and many others. And everyone's going on this big fun journey to try and get what they want, be it a child, or freedom, or friends. But come the second act, people start to die, and the boundaries of the fourth wall are tested, and the horrific natures of the fairy tales are really tested. It sounds pretty dark, so some of you may be wondering why in the world is Disney picking up on this project. So for those of you who haven't heard, yes, Disney is indeed trying to create Into the Woods as a Disney film project. Broadway and movies have not always gone well hand in hand, but the ones that make it big make it spectacular. I've been a huge Broadway fan ever since I was a child, because my parents, they would take me to Broadway shows all the time back when we could afford it. For a while, it was a Christmas tradition to give me Broadway tickets, and I would go with my mother into the city, and we would see all these great shows together. And I actually saw a few more thanks to schools I went to, including high school, for class trips and Girl Scout trips. And I think in a way it's not that surprising that I love Disney and Broadway so much, because they really have a lot in common. Films like Beauty and the Beast and Tangled, still issued that name, Little Mermaid, Mary Poppins. Films like this, and other great classics, are kind of like Broadway plays, with all the choreography, the great songs, the acts, the dramatics, which is why it really works when you take some of those shows and put them on Broadway. Like The Lion King, Mary Poppins, and Beauty and the Beast, and Tarzan not so much, but an effort was made. I'll talk about that in another video. Anyway, I'm actually fairly excited because when Disney does a good musical, they do it fantastically well. There is potential for a good bombing, I'll admit, but I want to keep my hopes high because I really enjoyed Into the Woods. I have the classic DVD with Bernadette Peters on it. Ugh. I don't know if she'll be in the role. I would really hope so because she's fantastic as the witch, but I think whoever they get would be fantastic overall. There are lots of good characters in there. There's lots of good morals, lots of good songs. It's a really fun, dark ride. So what I'm hoping is Disney doesn't try to tone it down because, like I said, there are deaths. There are people actually stomped to death by giants. It's really horrific. They don't show it, of course. And all the supposedly good characters, especially let's say spoilers at this point, but it's already moot. Anyway, there's a narrator in the story, and he's actually a big part of it because the characters decide when the story isn't going that well, they decide to offer him to the giant. They pretty much send him to die. But then they find out without the narrator, they don't know what to do, and the story is going out of control, and they have to stop it by their own means. So that's several deaths, by giants mostly, and you have to wonder if Disney would allow that. Disney has gone dark before, if you really take a good look at their movies, but people are just way too touchy these days, in my opinion. I think that people would be more wary about it, and I hope that people will shut up, because I think this would be a fantastic project. I think the lessons in there are good for every age, and I would just really like to see Disney's attempt at it, because I believe Disney has some of the most creative and talented people under its hands. And I'd like to see what they do with these characters, if they give them new designs, if they give them more songs, if they try to twist little stories. I mean, I don't want the story changed too much, but little things I can understand. So I'm eagerly awaiting to see and hear more about this. But if it does work, then another dream of mine could come true. There were plans at one point to make Wicked into an animated musical, but those plans are scrapped. And I really love Wicked. I'd like to believe if Into the Woods does well, be it animated or live action, then they might give Wicked another chance. That has no boundaries at all. No one said anything. This is my own speculation. This is my fingers crossed. And continuing on that, I would love to see more Broadway musicals coming to the big screen because I think they're a fantastic medium. Like Hairspray in Chicago, those did fantastic out there when they came to the big screen. And I'm saddened to see less and less of them now. People aren't really taking Broadway that seriously anymore, and it's so disappointing. The TV show Smash is being canceled, which causes my sister great disappointment. She is in tears about it. She loved the show, and I kind of liked it too. I'm not really into that much drama or realism, I guess I'd like to say, but I loved seeing how a Broadway show was made, the thought, the power, the songs, the retooling, all the process of it. So, I guess it wasn't that popular enough though because it's not lasting. But maybe if this Broadway, if Into the Woods works, maybe people will take Broadway more seriously, and I would really hope so because slowly but surely Broadway is becoming a dying art. People are shying away from it. But if we can show that Broadway can be fun and successful and work on different angles, I think it could live again. I think Broadway has the kind of magic that Disney is so perfect at. And that's a combination that fills me with hope.